Alright guys, so you guys have been bugging me forever to do this video, a top 10 to gold promo, so I'm going to do it in a way that's going to make you as mad as possible and suggest characters that you're totally going to disagree with. And when you do, please let me know in the comment section below your thoughts and what you would prefer to do instead. But we're going to talk about the criteria I use to do this. I'm going to list some, I'm going to show them with their teams and T4's I swear, all that nonsense. Anyway, let's go enjoy the video, I hope you do, and I'll see you at the end. So here's the criteria that I use when evaluating characters. Value for a 6 or 7 gold red star promo, and just to put it out there right away, I would never suggest people bring up characters from 6 red star to 7 red star unless you're a big spender, you're floating in gold promos. It's like this game-breaking character to you. To me personally, I would always rather have more 6s than a few 7s. But let's start with my otherwise criteria. So number 1, do you have the yellow stars available? If you don't have the yellow stars available, don't do it. I did that with my Cersei. I ended up waiting months and months and months till I finally filled in that yellow star, and by the time I had finally done that and activated the red star that I bought so far in the past, I had already incurred another 100 gold promos. So it was just a waste. It's like, oh, well, okay. How often are you using this character? Your daily use? Are you using them every single day? Are you only using them in War? Are you only using them in Crucible? Are you only using them when you blitz once a week? I don't know how you're using your characters, but make sure you're thinking about that. What modes are they used? So obviously certain modes you are going to have a higher weighted value on than others according to your enjoyment of the game, or more likely what's give more rewards. So when I'm looking at these characters for this particular list, I rank them through Arena, followed by Raids, followed by Crucible, and finally War. And then I kind of think towards Scourge and Tower, because those modes are fun for me and gives me a little bit of a better idea. So what modes are they used in? Character longevity. If you're promoting this character now, are they like just a pure damage character and they're going to be crept out of the entire game in 6 months? Think Black Bolt, like he's just gone now, right? Or do they have some interesting kit design that's going to keep them relevant for, a year, maybe a year and a half to come? And then what does the upgrade actually accomplish? Cool, they have this great kit, they are reducing speed meter and they're giving blinds out to everybody, whatever the case may be. Is giving them that extra red star helping them do that better? If not, then what's the point, right? Like a good example of a character that hits all these criteria, this last one would be, for me, Emma. Yellow stars available? Yep, got it. Daily use? Yep, use her every single day in War, Crucible, and Arena. That's great. The modes that she's using, we just went through that, using her every single day in these very important modes. Character longevity. Since she's been around, she's been one of the best characters in the game because her kit, reducing enemy character speed, AoE slow, buff strip plus blind, and then she's super tanky when she gets in the diamond form. Great. Does giving her an extra red star help her do any of that better? Well, she's kind of stat crept out of the game already, so giving her that extra red star doesn't really help her survive long enough to do that. The extra focus from a red star is kind of irrelevant to help her land her debuffs compared to, say, ISO. So not really anything there. Doesn't affect her damage any. There's no point in upgrading an Emma, in my view, with red stars. So she hits all the criteria, but not that last one, which in my opinion is probably the second most important one next to you have the yellow stars available. Alright, but anyway, with that said, let's get into it. So behind me is a list of just a lot of fantastic characters that, if I had a magic wand, can say, all of you are 7 red star now, I would absolutely do that. But we're going to break this down to 10. I'll give a brief talk about why I feel the way I do about that character, and then I'll include T4s and ISO, because that's something people are always asking, and maybe I'll include the teams that these characters strive with. So anyway, number 10, Ghost Spider. Yeah, she's going to be the only web warrior that makes this team. She is the heart and soul of that team, and they are a raid team. I use them every single day. The reason she doesn't make it further down this list is because they're falling off already. Like, they were introduced at the tail end of the last raid, and you can use them now, but it doesn't really matter on node 10 how big your web warriors are. Like, you can have them at 1.2 million if you get tunneled out in the wrong way, if you just don't land your buffs because there's an Adam Warlock with the defense up, immunity, and safeguard on spawn. There's not much you can do about it. So although she's a great character, she's really only used in Raid. That team has been phased out of defense in War and defense on Crucible, and on offense, they're just not usable. So, Raid is a super valuable mode to me. I value that high. She really does help me finish off the boss node easier with less problems. She does help me do more damage there and gets that extra focus when she's spraying those debuffs. So I get good value out of her there, and pretty much for that reason alone, she makes it to number 10, and also because I'm still hopeful that the Web Warrior team is going to be used in the next raid, but we'll see, because they're definitely being phased out. But man, if we get a bio team for every single raid tier, that's going to be tough. But yeah, so Ghost Spider number 10. Welcome back. Now let's talk about the Jolly Green Giant himself, Hulk, making it in at number 9. He's on the brand new team, so his longevity is there, right? Super old character, you should have the stars for him. His damage is nuts, so the red stars help him there. Then he's the tank of the team, so he's eating all the damage up front. The higher red stars you have, the better he takes the hits. The more health he has, he balances back like that, so it's great. And again, Horseman team, so longevity is just huge there. You can't deny that. The red stars, we are talking about how that's going to help him. I'm talking in circles. Hulk, smash, go. Great character. That's it. All right, now we got to talk about everybody's favorite playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. That word does not roll off the tongue. Well, we're talking about Iron Man. Again, new character, Bionic Avengers, works great on his team in Raid. And the reason he gets a further down the list spot than Ghost Spider, Bionic Avengers can actually be used elsewhere as well. So, if you do find a Web Warriors anywhere else in the game, your Bionic Avengers will annihilate them. So if you see a Web Warriors on defense in War Crucible, Bionic Avengers is a super quick, easy, stressless win. So they get good there, but they're also good against other teams in War. So they can beat Marauders, they can beat Uncanny, they can beat like X Factor teams if you're using it against them. They beat Ravager teams. There's a lot of teams that your Bionic Avengers can take on pretty easily. And you're going to have them big from Raid, and Iron Man is such a big component of their damage. Deathlock, probably the all-star of the team as far as damage goes. He sets you up, gives you that offense up, he's pinging with his passive and everything else. But you'll find that when you're doing your war fights, your Crucible fights, it's really that Iron Man special that just wipes the board clean. And for that reason, I really like having that extra power on Iron Man, so I like having that red star on him. As far as longevity goes, this is a recent rework. They're the newest raid team right now. Probably we're going to get a mutant one soon, so they'll be dethroned in that sense. But right now, they are the newest raid team. So I do kind of expect them to hang around at least until the next raid tier. Whether that's Doom 4, or Apocalypse 1, or Dormammu 1, or whatever the case may be. I think we're still going to have Bionic Avengers for a while to come. So he's pretty safe. And now we're going to get to some maybe a little bit controversial ones. But she's dope. And I'm talking about Spider-Woman. Yeah, so Spider-Woman is just an amazing character. Unfortunately, she was the first, I think, monthly character release. So most people only got 180 shards on her, though she's been out for a while, and they gave out some shards of her along the way during the Famine Scourge. So hopefully you've gotten some extra stars on her, because her kit is amazing. Now, she is primarily a war character with that A-Force team. Arguably the best, if not the second best war offense team right now. Maybe about to be dethroned by Underworld in that regard. But still an amazing team since their rework. But besides just that, Spider-Woman is working as an amazing plug-and-play character. With that 100% extra focus on her special and the defense down for 2 turns coming from her ISO attack or her basic, she can be used just about anywhere. And she's spouting just a great speed at 128, making her one of the fastest characters in the game to do all this. There's not much she can't do, and she's tanky. She comes into the fight with defense up. So I do think the longevity of Spider-Woman is there. I think she'll be around for a plug-and-play character long after A-Force crumbles as the war offense team. And if not, maybe they're going to make some kind of Spider-Verse team with her at some point, right? That door is always open for characters like her, Spider-Man Miles, the Web Weavers, the Tangled Web team. There's always that possibility around the corner. So I really like that, and the red stars really help her do damage. Her damage is undervalued. As soon as people actually get extra red stars on her, extra yellow stars, or build her up levels, you really start seeing how much damage she can pump out, and it's quite a bit. So yeah, Spider-Woman making it the list on number 7. And then number 6, this one, another one that's going to be controversial, Gambino. Yeah, we're talking about Gambit. again, another character with a terrible release method, those raids. I know some people made out like bandits where they walked away with like 300 shards. Other people not so lucky, walking away with 100, 150. Some people didn't even unlock them. It all depended on what kind of alliance you were in, right? But he's an insane character, and I'm using him every single day in War Crucible. If he's available for a Scourge node, he's crazy there. Just a great character, right? With that off-turn damage that he's pumping out, that you're gonna see that. Like Ghost Spider had that, Gambit has that. Somebody down the list is gonna have that as well. Just off-turn damage really screams Red Stars to me because they're just always doing something. They're always pumping something out. And besides that, just his damage stat is huge. So he's a really hard-hitting character. Now, where he does fall off, in my opinion, is kit-based. He doesn't have much interesting things. So with his team in Crucible, I think the longevity is there. But as a plug-and-play character, I don't see it, especially outside of Crucible. Like, everything he does is AoE, which is great. But he does feel like a current version of Black Bolt to me. Just a lot of damage, great on his team, but as soon as that team falls apart, I'm not sure Gambit's going to be usable anywhere else. But at the moment, it's definitely his time to shine. Super tanky, super big damage. So if you've got the yellow stars for him, I do suggest bringing him up. It's going to make your Crucible life easier. It'll make your wartime a little bit easier if you're using them on offense, where your opponent's a little bit more difficult if on defense. So yeah, Gambit making it to number 6. Alright, and now's the fun part, because we get to talk about some characters that you might actually already have good to go. The next character, well, she kind of needs her team to be usable. But Black Order is not the team we're talking about. We're talking about Infinity Watch, of course. And Infinity Watch is not like Black Order. Black Order is now phased out of the game. They're not really good anywhere. Even if you have them super big, you can throw them up on defense, and like any new team just demolishes them. But Infinity Watch, they overdid it with them. So the Adam Warlock giving the immunity and safeguard on spawn. I think it's Phylavel giving the defense up, or maybe it's Adam Warlock as well. Regardless, they can take hits like really well at the beginning, which is causing the developers problems in making sure that they can kind of phase them out. So even though there's lots of counters for them right now, you know, you look at Gamma, Darkhold, some Eternal comps, Young Avengers, there's definitely some answers to the Infinity Watch team, but when you get to pick the fight, you're using them on offense, Infinity Watch are still a major headache for your enemy. So you think about some of the new teams on defense, like the Underworld team. While Infinity Watch didn't stand up to them, you know, people are having bigger Wakandans now that were causing problems in war. Infinity Watch can stand up to them. The Tangled Web team, prior to being fully released, which they are at the time of recording this, Infinity Watch was able to go stand up to them as well. They're usable against Gamma in war as a cleanup team or as a team to pull that Red Hulk ultimate, which kind of sucks to think you're using Infinity Watch just for that. But my point is that the Infinity Watch still has a place right now, and Gamora, being the absolute damage cannon of that team, the empowered version of it, she's very useful, and with the higher red stars, it really helps that team pump up. Adam Warlock, you can argue, might be the mirror to her, where you can value red stars on him as much as you do on her. But in my opinion, it's still Gamora, and I know I'm breaking my rules because she's just kit-based, and the second that team is no longer there, her longevity's done. She's just over, right? But I see them struggling to make Infinity Watch irrelevant, so I think that the Infinity Watch team, and Gamora in particular, is still worth investing in if you're big into Crucible and War. And you know, anytime there's a cosmic tag in Scourge, Infinity Watch is going to be good enough for a node. Anyway, let's move on. That's Gamora number 5. All right, kicking his way into number 4, we got Shang-Chi. I know, guys, a war defense character. Dorky, what are you talking about? But Shang-Chi is so much more than that. So I use him every single day in raids. Beside Kestrel, he is the guy on that team. The damage, the control, the turn meter rewinds, everything he does is so good and is pumped up dramatically by red stars. The damage that he pumps out with that ultimate was like key in beating Node 8 for me in the past Scourge. You know, it gets amplified off of the enemy positive effects, and he was just wiping waves out, just absolutely obliterating them. And I can't help but think that, you know, less red stars would have kept me out of the top 50. Now, the longevity, he's kind of a plug and play already, right? So the fact that he acts as a plug and play means he's going to last longer. However, we do got to look at his speed. he's at 120 alone, which a year ago was super fast. But right now, that's slow compared to these new characters coming out. You look at like Red Hulk at 131, all the A-Force in the high 20s, you know, Eternals in the high 20s, or 126 and I think 125. So he's not super fast, so he does need to have a team around him, but he does work as a plug-and-play character, so I think it's there. Anyway, I feel strongly enough about him and his use in the raid that I felt he was good enough to make it to the bottom of this list, really, at number 4. All right, now the last legendary before we have to talk about the stupid dark promo situation, Omega Red. Yeah, Omega Red still putting in work. In War, it's undoubtable that the Weapon X team is going to be around for quite some time. The speed that they get is unparalleled at the beginning. Now, they do get thwarted by some on-spawn taunts, which we're seeing all over the place now, as well as, well, faster characters like the Gamma team if they start with that speed up, plus some speed bar. So they're not the apex killing machine they used to be, and obviously they struggle against Darkhold at certain power levels. But they're still the guys. They're still the guys in War. Still absolutely worth investing in if you haven't already. And they double up as a pretty solid Crucible team. In the villain section, you know, I'm always looking for Omega Red. In the villain section of Scourge, they work as a great tower team. And just when Weapon X is completely done and over with, I think Lady Deathstrike and Omega Red are still going to find plug and play as a power duo. I really do think that they help each other pop off in great ways. But yeah, Omega Red with his damage, he had to come in at number 3. He was the first trauma. You can't snub him here. All right, and number 2, Scopely makes some great characters when they want to put their stamp on it, and they did the best job when they made their very first character, Kestrel. Kestrel is just an absolutely insane killing machine. Has been since she got here. Will continue to be for quite some time because of her kit. Now, she has that Black Bolt / Gambit feel where it's all damage, but she is actually more than that. You talk about the defense down that she's pumping out, the unblockable special, and then the ultimate with the 5,000% focus to make sure she gets that defense down. All fantastic. And then, like Gambit, she's got that out-of-turn damage. Anytime somebody is hit with defense down, she does this giant ping on them. Just huge. I use her every single day in raids, War, Crucible. If I see a spot for her in the Scourge mode, I'll absolutely use her there. She works as a plug-and-play, so although she kind of, by default, slots into that Secret Avengers team for War, Crucible, you can plug her out and put her anywhere, and she just elevates that team like crazy. So undoubtedly, Kestrel had to make this list. Unfortunately, premium character, right? Premium orb character. But on the other side of that fortunate coin, she was a campaign character. So hopefully she's been out long enough. You farmed her campaign as hard as you could because we did know she was going to be bonkers when she was released. Hopefully you farmed her as much as you could there, and now you've gotten some good premium or mega orb pulls, and you've gotten her along the way. But if you can give her a promotion, I definitely suggest doing so. And she's one of the few characters, she's literally one of 2 characters actually, that if someone came to me and said, no, Dorky, I don't care, shut your mouth, I want to upgrade my Kestrel to 7 red stars, I'd shrug and be like, okay, I get it, she's amazing, do it, have fun with her, she's gonna be great. All right, and the big kahuna, the last person that anyone has available, because they don't have the yellow stars because they never made him farmable, Icarus. Yeah, the Eternals have not fallen off, they've not disappeared, and he's still at the top of this list basically because of what they're doing with the Horseman teams. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Icarus's damage, his kit is fantastic. Now, his kit does have the downside of being attached to Cersei, right? Like, she needs to be on the team for him to function. But when they are together, you got that turn meter rewind, the ultimate, which does flips and just huge damage. If he double taps, he like wipes boards off the map, and it has 500% focus. So he's very unlikely to get those buff flips reversed. So he had to make this list, just damage-wise, tank-wise, kit-wise. The longevity is there. There's always the situation where we get some extra Eternals if they drop another Eternals movie. So that's always there. And just the plug-and-play value of him and Cersei, because there's only 2 of them. They slot in great with these new, like, 3-person teams Scopely's been throwing at us. You think about, you know, Cloak and Dagger is a 2-person team. Technically, Deathpool's there, so Eternals can slot in there. Tangled Web is only 3 people, so Eternals can slot in there. And I think that's a trend we're going to continue to see from Scopely in the near future. So I don't think Eternals are going anywhere anytime soon. And just every single extra red star on Icarus brings him to another level of capability. Again, so just like with Couch, someone said, you know, Dorky, I want to bring my Icarus to 7 red stars. I'm using him every day in the raids, every war, every crucible. I use them as a master key during tower. If there's a cosmic section or a hero section in a Scourge, my Eternals just trivialize it. I get it. If you want to bring him up to 7 red stars, I would support that. The only thing I would suggest is that before you do that, probably bring Cersei up to 6 red stars, since you have to bring them together. And she's got some fantastic kit in her own right. I just wouldn't value her over any of the other people in this list because she's more of a support character in that regard. Alright, so those are our top 10 gold promo characters, but I'm also always asked about dark promos because they're so scarce. And if you're like me, if you just watched my Spider-Man Noir orb opening, you see that I relied heavily on those regular orbs to finally get a 4 red star character. Without those regular star orbs, I would have had 0 red stars on my Spider-Man Noir, and I'd have been a sad boy. So maybe you're like me, maybe you're not opening outside of the dark promo, improved drop rate, and you have very scarce dark promos. So you're wondering, like, who should I prioritize in upgrading with my dark promos? Now, the bad answer is that all these characters are amazing, and it would be the best if you can bring them all up, which you're not going to be able to. But what I would say is bring all your horsemen up to 5 red stars. That's right before the price like greatly increases, right? So up to 5, I think from 4 to 5 is 1,200. I don't know what it is underneath that, but I know it's worth it. So I would actually bring Morgan, Rogue, and Red Hulk all up to 5 red stars before I think about promoting anybody else. Now, I'm assuming Archangel is the next horseman, so I would also give him the same kind of treatment. In fact, when I'm talking about the horseman, unless I isolate one, then you can assume I believe the same thing with Archangel. Once you have all your horsemen up to 5 red stars, I would bring Morgan up to 6 red stars, and then I'd bring Morgan up to 7 red stars. Morgan is just the best character on this list. Crazy stats, crazy kit, absolutely insane. She makes her team go, and she also seems to be possibly the focal point of the Horseman team, with the exception of Apocalypse. I'm sure Apocalypse will do some crazy stuff. But right now, in Arena, you're putting all your Horsemen on there, but Morgan is still just absolutely wrecking teams. So yeah, I do think her 7th red star is more valuable than Rogue or Red Hulk 5th red star. And once I've done that, then I'll probably do Red Hulk. I'll do Red Hulk up to 6, then I'll do Rogue up to 6, and then I'll do Archangel up to 6. Maybe Archangel will jump the queue a little bit if, depending on his kit, if they're usable in Crucible, if they're usable in War, not just the raids. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there, right? And once I have them all at 6 red stars, I might chill a bit. I might wait till I get to the cap, because I feel like Dormammu red stars are around the corner, and I do think a 5th red star on Dormammu would be very, very valuable. Probably more so than a 6 red star on Rogue at this point. He's not out of the meta, guys, just because Apocalypse is here or around the corner. Dormammu's still fantastic. The Age of X right now in Crucible is kind of nerfing him there, but that's a temporary thing. He's still usable in War. He's still a Master Key in Scourge and Tower and everything like that. So once he gets red star promotable, I would do that. And that leads us to the poor metal boy, Dr. Doom. He does have 5 and even 6 red star available right now, but they're too expensive to justify. So if you haven't already brought him up to 5 or 6, I wouldn't do it. I think the Horsemen just give you so much more value, and you might want to start looking at Doom kind of like Ultron. Don't jump down my throat. Not there yet. He's still super good. His ultimate is still very kit reliant, right? He doesn't need to be the absolute damage of the team when his ultimate's going to call someone else in for 3 attacks. So worst case scenario, down the road, if you still haven't been able to upgrade your Doom, slap a skirmisher on him so his basics are doing flips when he does his ultimate, and then rely on whoever else you called in to do the damage to do the deed. But that's what I would do. So all the Horsemen to 5, Morgan to 7, Horsemen to 6, maybe wait, chill, see if they do Dormammu, and then, I mean, when Apocalypse joins, I assume he's going to have this stupid dark promotion structure as well. And I'm assuming he'll be like a bring him up to 7 red stars as soon as you can type thing, but I don't know for certain. But anyway, guys, that is the end of our promotion talk. If you disagree with me heavily, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll fight about it. Or not. Maybe I'll disagree with you. Who cares? Bye.